Welcome to Sugative Inks, where history lives in those who refuse to forget. Welcome to our first ever episode. In the shadow of ultimate rule, thousands of Macedonian revolutionaries rose up for one goal: liberty. It's a story not just of rebellion, but of sacrifice. A story not just of men with rifles, but of mothers, children, and villages that refused to kneel. This is the price of freedom. This is Ilinden. While most of the Balkans still slept, we were still under the Ottoman Empire. A thunderous cry echoed across the mountains of Macedonia. The Ottoman Empire was an aging shadow of its former self, but its grip on Macedonia remained iron tight. Inside that grip, a fire burnt. On the 2nd of August 1903, Ilinden, a date carved deep into the Macedonian heart, a scarred day for the Orthodox Macedonians, and now it was to become a symbol of revolution. In cities and towns, Bitola, Krushevo, Kichevo, and many others, teachers, students, and farmers whispered one word: Ilinden. At the heart of this movement stood men like Dame Gruyev, Nikola Karev, Peter Gulli, the visionary organizers who believed education and uprising must walk hand in hand. They built cells of resistance in every village, and then there were the people, the fighters, mothers, hiding rebels, priests carrying secret messages, villagers digging trenches under moonlight. They were not soldiers, but they were warriors. In the early morning of 2nd of August 1903, on that holy day, the mountains roared. Over 800 battles erupted across Macedonia. In the town of Krushevo, the revolutionaries of the Internal Macedonian Revolutionary Organization, also known as VMRO, seized control. And in that moment, they did the unthinkable. Led by Nikola Karev, they stormed the Ottoman garrison and declared the Krushevo Republic, the first modern attempt at a democratic government in Macedonia. But behind the banners of bravery was blood. Empires do not fall quietly. Freedom came at a terrible cost. Over the course of the uprising, nearly 1,000 Macedonians lost their lives, some in battle, others in brutal reprisals. Around 400 to 500 were VMRO fighters, armed with rifles and knives, and endless courage. The rest were just civilians, men and women, and children caught in the Ottoman retaliation. Entire villages, over 100 of them, were burnt to the ground. Homes looted, churches destroyed, livelihoods erased in a matter of days. Tens of thousands fled, refugees, women and children, elders, walking miles across mountains just to survive. As the Ottoman forces regrouped, their fury turned towards the population. For weeks, smoke rose from the hills of Macedonia. A nation in revolt had become a nation in exile. But through the ashes, something was born: a spirit, a vision, the Krushevo Republic, short-lived, yes, but a symbol of what Macedonia would become. The Republic lasted only 10 days, from the 2nd of August to the 12th of August, but it showed the world what Macedonian people dreamt of: a future where Macedonians ruled their own land. The provisional government even issued a manifesto calling on Muslims and Christians alike to unite in the struggle for freedom. Ottoman reinforcements soon overwhelmed the revolutionaries. In Krushevo, the town was surrounded, bombarded, and retaken. The Ottoman cannons turned Krushevo to ash. In the mountains, commanders like Peter Gulli, Jordan Piperkata, and many others made their last stands. They stood, they fought, they fell. Many of these leaders died in battle, their names etched forever in Macedonian memory. The price of freedom was high, paid in blood, paid by families whose names history may never record, paid by a generation who dared to dream. By the end of the uprising, Macedonia lay wounded, but not defeated. The world had watched. Newspapers across Europe carried headlines of the brave Macedonian revolt. Appeals were made, aid was sent, and slowly the idea of Macedonian independence began to take root beyond its borders. The Ilinden Uprising became the soul of the Macedonian national awakening. It was a story of loss, but also of resistance. It was the funeral of one generation and the birth of a new one. Ilinden wasn't a failed mission. It was a sacrifice. The kind of sacrifice the nations are built upon. To all the Macedonians who gave their lives, to all the villages that turned to ash, to all the refugees, your struggle was not in vain. From the two Balkan Wars to the two World Wars and to our independence in 1991, the spirit of Ilinden marched on, because today, across Macedonia, the fires of Ilinden still burn. In every village named after a fallen hero, in every song sung in their memory, in every child who learns the story, the price they paid is never, ever forgotten. Ilinden wasn't just a rebellion, it was a message. And that is, they tried to erase us, tried to silence our name, bury our heroes, rewrite our history, but we're still here, stronger, louder, and prouder than ever. This isn't a series I'm making. This is a voice for those who never had one. For the fighters of Ilinden, for the cries of Mechkin Kamen, for the songs our grandmothers sang, and the battles our grandfathers fought. Every episode I make is a weapon against forgetting. Every story is a spark. And when you listen, you become part of something greater. This is Sugurifink, where history lives in those who refuse to forget. And if that's you, then follow, share, and let the world know Macedonia is alive.